So we're going to get started here. I'm glad to have all of you with us this morning. It's a little different. I'm usually sitting at my desk starting these Saturday morning Zooms, but I can assure you it's the first time I've ever done a Zoom from a gym. Most people that know me know that, yes, my daughter that knows all about the gyms. I do know the color of the carpet here because I have been by to check out the sauna a couple of times. So that's about it with me. I don't know where the equipment is. But I think everybody's coming in. Guys, we're going to get started in probably about 60 seconds. We just wanted to let everybody have an update. We're doing a little sound check. So, Anthony, where did Anthony go? I was making sure that the sound's coming through and somebody says, we're good. The sound says we're good. All right. So, is Kristen coming? Is she going to introduce Jen or am I going to introduce Jen? Kristen, is she going to do the introductions? Since I have her microphone in my hand, we'll put her straight to running and talking. Kristen, you're up. We got people still coming in the door. So as we know, we got some folks that came in from Mississippi. So we're on Mississippi time today. Mississippi means that you're not supposed to be there. If the start time is 10, it means you're supposed to leave for it at 10. Is that right? That's what I learned when I worked in Mississippi. If the start time is 10, then you show up about 20 minutes later. And if you live further, then it's a little further away. So we're on Mississippi time today, even though we're in Tennessee. So. And of course, my daughter ignores me. I've told her twice this is her microphone, but she's not coming up to do that. This is your microphone, Kristen. You're going to start this and introduce and welcome. And so I'm going to put her on there. So guys, sorry for being a few minutes late, but here we go. I'm going to get started.
I'm not going to hook it on because I'm just going to be handing it off probably. All right. So my name is Kristen White and thank y'all all for coming this morning. This is my gym. Atlas Fitness, if you've never been here before. And basically, I've been running this gym for almost 4 years, but I decided to transition into building a business here with New Age because I love the products. So if you have never heard anything about the products, and this is your first time hearing about them, get ready because there's going to be a lot of information that Jen's going to get to share with you this morning. It's going to feel weird not doing it, but I'm kind of excited to listen to her because she's a world of knowledge and I learned so much every time I listen to her. So I'm really excited to listen. So just keep your eyes and ears open and enjoy. If you have questions, feel free to ask. Again, I'm going to back up a little bit. So I got started with the business February of this year, but I've been using these products for 8 years. So I'm not like a newbie to them. I just never ventured out to start sharing. I don't know why I didn't. I guess I was just I liked them and it was all about me at the time, but kind of sick of the supplement world. And obviously I am in the fitness industry, so I see a lot of things when it comes to supplements, and it's time to let people understand when you go to Kroger and we go to Walgreens and we go to Vitamin Shop, sometimes you're not getting things that are good for you, even though you think they're good for you. And we're just here to share the good about these products and how they're helpful and get you just a little more awareness, even if you don't take anything away from the business part of it, but just get more open-minded about being healthier and what to look for. Okay. Which is going to lead me to introduce one of my new favorite people is this Hot Chocolate. I'm not even going to call her by her real name. And I met her in March and she is going to introduce our speaker, but she got started basically because she heard about the products and she wanted to just better her health and level up her life. So I'm going to introduce Hot Chocolate. She'll come up. She's going to tell you why she is here, and then she'll get to introduce our speaker. You need it. Yeah.
Do I need this? Okay.
Yeah, you need it.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. And good morning to all of you. I am at a point in my life, I'm 51. And I want to go to the next level. My whole theme of my life now is upgrade. Everything I think, everything I do, the people that I'm connected to, I want to upgrade, but I did not just want to take myself on a journey of upgrading. So I told my radio or listening audience, I think it was on Facebook actually, that I want to help people have more financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Like going on a journey myself, because not only did I have COVID weight, I had pre-COVID weight. So I had gone on a little personal journey and started losing weight by myself. but it wasn't enough because I didn't feel like what I was doing was life-changing. He was going to change my life, but not everybody else's. So I do what I was trying to do, and that's go to the juice store periodically. I didn't really know Jen. I just knew that there was a lady who owned the store. She and her husband, and she was always smiling. And I've even told my husband, she's always so kind. So that stood out to me. So I go in there one day saying, I just need some juice. I see a flyer and it said business. I said, no, thank you. I just want some juice. True story. Because I was open to upgrading, but not in that way. So I remembered, though, I wanted something that could help more than myself. So I said, okay, tell me about it. And she's like, oh, the products, but it's a business too. And she said, do you know Atlas Fitness? I said, no. She said, Kristen? I said, no. She said, well, I want her to talk to you. And I said, okay, I was like a robot. So the next day I walked into this gym, never being in a gym without a treadmill before. And so I knew they did real work here. So I come to the gym and there's this guy who has on shorts and a t-shirt. And I thought he was there to meet me. Turns out he was there to go to the sauna. Well, the sauna was connected to the gym, who was connected to his daughter, who was Kristen. So he tells me about the products, no, about the business side. He said, what are you interested in? I said, well, both. Because I'm like, well, I'm here. I might as well hear both. Then here comes Kristen, tells me about products. In that moment, true story, my life began to change because I'm a person, I have a cabinet full of supplements. You know, I'm the supplement queen. Not only the medications, but a whole lot of supplements. But when she talked to me, I had chill bumps. I'm 51. I've never had chill bumps from listening to someone. And tears welled up in my eyes. And I'm like, am I having a moment? An experience. So I knew it was true. Didn't understand it all, but I knew I had stepped into something bigger than myself. I signed up that day. I didn't have to understand it all. I just wanted change in my life, and I wanted to be able to change somebody else's life. So I run, get in my vehicle. I called Burl. I said, Burl, I can't explain it, but they said inflammation. Burl was on a cane. And she was constantly falling. She had had a hip replacement and a knee replacement, and she was getting worse. So to go up a step, she was in agony. And every few days, she was telling me, something else was going on. So I told her, I said, all I know, inflammation. She said, I'm in. I was like, for real? She said, yeah. I said, okay, come on, we're going on this journey together. Then I called Angela. She said, I'll be there in an hour. I said, for real? So I called Chris back, and here we are. And what am I saying? Jen was in the right place. And I want to publicly say thank you.
Well, you are more than welcome. Yeah. I need to thank you.
It's a chain reaction. So Jen is one of the most wonderful people. I had to tell you how I met her. And her kindness, her attention to detail in the healthcare world. She's had a tumor. Her son has had, he was on hospice. Her juices are not the juices you find in a general health store. They can restore, they can change your whole life. And so I believed her when she said it was real. And so Jen is a blessing to the whole world. And so it's an honor to introduce her. Whatever you hear from her, not only is it emotionally sound, it is scientifically sound.
Well, there's a lot of science behind it.
Yeah, and everything else. She lives what she preaches. She studied it, and it's real. And she's changed my life, and I hope she changes yours.
Thank you. I got it. I'm going to back up. What a wonderful invitation, Hot Chocolate. I have to say, she gave me glory bumps talking about that stuff, you know. Well, welcome. I'm so excited to see you guys here because I am super passionate about this. And I have spent the past 12 years studying this kind of thing. I'll give you a little background. First of all, I'm Jen Stasel. 8 years ago, I started Quench Juice. But before that, she talked about my son. He was not diagnosed because they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him, but he had a reaction and it shut his organs down. So the choice was to stay at the hospital under hospice or bring him home under hospice, and I brought him home. Found a naturopathic doctor in Alabama and took him there, and he put him on a juice fast. So there's a whole lot more to the story, and I would love to tell you, but I want to get to why I chose these products. In the process of helping him to survive, I had to be ridiculously careful what I put in his body. His body would reject anything synthetic. So that meant the covering of the capsules, I had to be careful what it was. That meant juice had to be frozen before he could drink it, just in case there was pathogenic activity in the fruits and vegetables, organic fruits and vegetables. You know, you pull something out of the ground out there, there could be something on it. His body couldn't break it down and couldn't respond to it. His immune system was shut down. So that's where I started learning about the importance of packaging of your, like in capsules or in the pouches or anything that you're putting in your body. So fast forward, I had been diagnosed with anyway, I put him on a juice fast. He got better, and he's 17 and he's meaner than a snake. No, let me rephrase that. I'm live. He's great. And he is a really hard worker, strong as an ox. I'm super proud of him. No, I really am. He's a very loving, compassionate person, and God saved him for a reason. He's going to do big things, I'm sure. But I was diagnosed with it was not malignant, so I don't want to turn it into something, and I'm not trying to tell you that any of this will treat, cure. I can't diagnose. We don't diagnose anything. None of that's going on. These are reactions that happen from changing our lifestyles and putting in our body what it knows what to do with in order to boost it and supplement it. I'm going to try not to get all excited. But I was diagnosed with a microadenoma. It was not malignant, and went to the same naturopathic doctor, and he was like, you need to do these 100 pills a day and drink, 64 ounces of juice a day. And I was like, I've already got a child that is very sick that I'm working with, and I'm getting all this stuff in. I don't want to sound disrespectful or ungrateful, but I just don't know that I can get all this in. So tell me another way. And he said, juice fast, just fast. So for 30 days, I fasted, went back, got rechecked, and he was like, nope, still got activity here. You have to do it another 30 days. So I did 60 days, went back, and all of the cellular and energetic activity was gone. So I went to the MD and said, I need to get my blood work done. I need to get another CAT scan. The CAT scan was hilarious. I mean, we were in there and they just kept coming in, checking stuff and looking for stuff and coming back and going out. And they called another radiologist and come back in and said, we can't find it. I said, because it's gone. Yeah, praise the Lord, right? Yeah, glory bumps. So that is where my origination and my love for this stuff came in, because you have to have good quality ingredients in your body for it to respond. I am not, and I understand I'm not the perfect picture of health. I don't make all the best decisions, but I feel great. And I feel even better since starting this. So that was my proof. One, is it helped me. Two, and their incredible focus on giving you the proper packaging. Now, here's my other thing with juicing. You have to follow proper food combining. No, most people don't understand that. You can't just throw an orange in with some kale and drink it and think it's healthy. Yeah, it's better than going to, a fast food chain. But if you will follow the proper food combining, as in, let me give you a good example, beets. Everybody knows that beets are phenomenal for the heart, the liver, the lungs, the blood. You'll hear beets are a superfood, beets are a superfood. But if you pile in a bunch of beet juice on yourself, you're going to be in the ER. It's going to overload your heart, and it's going to beat till you think you're going to pass out. So you have to know proper food combining. They have done this in these products. They have followed proper food combining laws that absolutely blows me away. I've never found another supplement company. I sell supplements in my store that don't meet up to this. And I am working on changing all of that over, and I'm going to do it all at once. As soon as we get everything where I can cover everything. Your eliminatory organs are your absolute key to success and detoxification. That's where my son had the most problems. His eliminatory organs were just shut down. Kidneys, skin, liver, bowel, intestines, everything was just not working. Through the juicing and through good quality supplementation, he was revived. And I have seen it over and over and over, not just in myself and my son, but I dare say thousands now in 8 years' time. So that was 12 years ago with my son. We got about 4 years later, everybody was feeling better and doing better. And everybody that knew me was like, can you make me some of that juice? I was not working in juice. I was at home with my kids doing my thing. And people kept asking and asking and asking, can you bring me some of that juice? And then when people would get sick, you know how you take a meal to, a family when somebody gets sick. I didn't take them a meal. I took them a quart of juice. And they could really tell a difference, then that's when it started. Can you make me some? Can you make me some? I'm like, I can't keep up with all this juice, because I vowed then I would never stop giving my kids, juice. And let me tell you one of the very huge misconceptions about it: sugar. I cannot tell you how many times people walk in there and say, I want some juice, but I don't want it to have any sugar in it. I'm going to tell you right now, that kale and that romaine lettuce has all kinds of sugar in it. Our bodies are made to break down the natural plant-based sugars. Now, when you add this processed stuff to all this stuff, it has no idea what to do with that. That's the biggest difference. The sugar in the juice, in the romaine lettuce juice, my naturopath doctor put me on 2 quarts of romaine lettuce juice a day. I thought I was going to die. It tastes so bad. But it produces what's called ATP in your body. It tells your body, rev up the raw energy, take the toxins, break them down, and get them out. So don't be scared of your fruits and vegetables. I know if your doctor has recommended you stay away from fruits, do it. Your doctor comes first. I'm not a medical doctor. All I know is what I've learned over the years, what I've been trained in. So then, after everybody asking me about juice, I decided to open a business with juice. I thought, I'll be open 2 days a week. It'll be a little hobby. My husband had a full-time, full-blown business of his own in Milan North. And I said, I may need you to come down a day or 2 a week and help me. Well, the first day he came and he helped me, and we made 20 bottles of juice, put them in quart jars, put them in the freezer, because I wanted everybody's juice to be as healthy as my son's juice. I was trying to do the right thing, and they all busted. We had bought commercial grade freezers. A commercial grade freezer, totally different than your freezer at home. And so they all busted. So the next day we made everything over again, learned all that lesson, went and ended up a month later going and buying the juicer that's as big as me, because we blew up. People were coming from all over to buy juice. We are now 6 days a week. And I ended up being instructed, or actually told by my naturopathic doctor, we got to be really good friends, and he wanted me to start doing what he was doing. So I went and got trained. I now do the same kind of testing that he does. And I test people on these all the time. And they always test good. The only time they don't, and now listen, this is when they're so toxic, they can't handle this one. This is the one that sometimes people can't handle. So I cut them back to like a teaspoon, or, a small amount of it to get started, because you need it. 36 superfoods. I'll get into all that in a second. But I tell you all this to help you understand that we are in a dilemma in this society. We are at a point where we have to take control of our own health. And if we don't, we are going to continue to go down the path we're on now, where cancer is at an all-time high. Heart disease is the #1 killer and has been for years. Autoimmune disease, I hear it every day. And now we are ridiculously at a point where we have to take care of our immune system. And I mean your good microbiome, your good bacteria in your body. We are a society who has been flooded with antibiotics, and it has killed out all of our, a lot of our good stuff. I really feel like that was the underlying issue for my son. He had chronic sinus infections and was constantly on an antibiotic. So I will start with my testimony on this product. 2 years ago, I thought I was starting menopause. So I was hemorrhaging. So I fought it and fought it and fought it, kept it kind of under control. And then it got completely out of control. I'm going to fast forward. And Kristen walks in one day, and I'm fighting infusions, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. You think I want blood from somebody else? I don't mean anything against anybody, but I don't want to be taking people's blood. Nobody knows where this thing is coming from for sure. Nobody knows how to treat it for sure. No, thank you. Let me try to, figure it out. Plus, I'm a holistic practitioner. Why can't I figure it out? Do you know how bad I felt about that? I'm helping all these other people. I need to shut the doors. That's what I was telling myself. You can't help yourself. The enemy will attack you. Who is your enemy? Mine was myself. So I had to beef it up and pay attention. Kristen walks in, and she looks like $2 million. She always looks like $1 million, but she looked like $2 million. And I said, "What are you doing?" Because I saw her all the time. She was a big juicer. And she said, "Well, I started the drops through, at that time, RX." And I said, "What do you mean? Tell me about it." Now, listen, up here on my counter is about this high. I have a box of essential oils sitting there, and this empty box sitting there had been sitting there for well over a year, maybe 2, empty, because I had the drops at home. I had bought the drops. Chris and I had talked. I got the kit. I used the MOA. This was my super favorite, which I'll tell you in a second. Okay, so I said, "Well, I've got those drops at home." She said, "You need to try them," because I started telling her about my hemorrhaging and my menopause and all this stuff. And she was like, "You need to try them." And I was like, I'm going to try them just because I want to look more like you. So I go home. I get my drops out. They're expired. So I order some more drops, and I start on them. I had been battling this in a year and a half. In 3 days, everything stopped. My pituitary gland was completely out of balance, and I couldn't figure it out. My doctor couldn't figure it out. My ND couldn't figure it out. We were loading me up on progesterone, which caused me to gain 45, 50 pounds. Plus, it's not good for you. You don't want to be putting stuff like that in. Your body ought to make hormones. You shouldn't have to. I know sometimes there's a need for it. I get that. But in my case, I didn't need to be taking 200 milligrams of progesterone a day to get this under control. Something was wrong. So got that stopped. The reason it got it stopped is because of the homeopathic combination in here. The proper food combining in a liquid form that absorbs so much quicker and so much easier in your body. It doesn't even have to go through the digestive system. Hits the cells, hits the bloodstream, and goes where it needs to go. And it just kicked my system right in gear, what it needed to do. It started balancing out. What I didn't realize is how depressed I was, how bad I had beat myself down because I couldn't figure out my own problems. Of course, you always have other people. I mean, I am slammed with people. "Please help me." They walk in, stand at the counter, and can hardly stand up. They come in, they find out I do biofeedback. "Can you do it right now?" And I'm 2 weeks out. It breaks my heart. I have a stack of hair samples, because I can do the same thing with hair samples. Sitting at my office right now. My husband's like, "I want to go out of town for the weekend. I love you if you're watching." And I'm like, "I can't. I've got too much to do." He's like, "Nope, you're going." So as soon as I get done here, he's ready for me to leave and go relax with all this stack sitting here of people that need my help. This helped me so much emotionally, helped my moods. When you balance out the glands in your brain and your endocrine system, so many things start to change. This is just not about losing weight. If you're holding weight, you don't feel good. You don't want to do that. If you don't want to, some people don't mind. I mean, I got to the point where I just accepted it. It was a side effect of what I had going on, and I had to keep going. But now that I've got that under control, my hormones under control, my emotions under control, I'm ready to focus in on the whole package. And that's what this does. It gives you the opportunity to focus in on the whole package. Mental health is just as important as your physical health. The combination in here is perfect on the Slender X drops. So weight loss, it's a side effect. I've lost 20 pounds. I hadn't changed any kind of food Now, I love my juice, but I love my junk. Now my focus has got to be, I didn't do very good with the level up, I'll tell you. I'm just going to be honest. I love all of y'all and your 2 miles and 10 miles and all that. And I'm like, scroll. Like and scroll. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. But it's one step at a time. I'm going to eat that elephant one bite at a time, okay? Now, y'all tell me if I start talking too long, okay? Accelerate. I didn't even know how powerful that stuff was. That's the second bottle of drops in here. It is a powerhouse for your liver. It has methylated B12 in it. Kristen does a phenomenal job explaining the difference in the synthetic B12 and the natural B12. Let me tell you that the methylated B12 is what you want. All those people out there with MTHFR codes or issues, they can take this and have great results with it. It's so amazing because they have such reactions to synthetics. And 90% of the people that have the MTHFR issue, I can't think of what they call it, don't even know it. The majority don't even know. So they're getting this. They're getting so much more than what they even realize. They think they're getting something that's going to help them calm down because it has adrenal support in it, which it does, which is super important, which there again, mental health. The adrenal support in here is incredible. It's not too much, and it's just enough. Now, my sweetheart, you know, when I first started these, I had first started running scans. The process of running a biofeedback scan is you have to know everything about the body, all the processes. And praise God, I had worked with Dr. Rodden enough that I had learned the majority of it just through him. And then I went through training and my mind was blown. And I was horrible and still am, you can probably still tell, ADD. Not diagnosed, I just know. I mean, I'd be standing here holding this and be over here getting a drink of water and be like, oh, why was I holding that? You know, it was terrible. So here I am, I've got to focus in on these scans, and I couldn't get the processes of the body to line up. It would take me an hour and a half. Now, Harriet and I take an hour and a half because we laugh and have fun and joke around, but I can do it in 30 minutes now because of this. It helps the process of my mind and my brain. And I'm sure it does a whole lot more than that. For me, it is a life changer in concentration and focus. My daughter, God bless her, is just like me. I love you with all my heart if you're watching. I don't think she is. She could care less. But I give her one every morning. She decided, my kids are homeschooled. And I decided, she decided she was not going to do that anymore. She's a 9th grader. She's going to high school like everybody else. I said, okay, we'll see. You're just like me. This ain't going to be fun for you. Every day, she's 4 hours of working on homework, and I was like, try this. Just try it. I hate taking pills. I don't want to take a pill. I was like, well, open it up, put it in something, and drink it. Just take it. And she was like, Mom, now, where's that bottle? I got to go to school. Where's that? I've got to write an essay. Well, last night, she had to write an essay. So she's like, where's that bottle? So I gave her one because I was like, oh, it's like 6 o'clock. And she comes back. She's like, I had to write a half a page essay. Mom, you want to read it? I said, yeah, let me read it. So I read it, and I'm reading, and I'm reading, and I'm reading. A page and a half later, this essay ends, and I was like, why did you write so much? I don't know. I just like it now. I was like, well, all right. Good job, new age. So it's really helped my girl, too. It also has a calming supplement in here. What is it, Kristen? I can't think of it right now. Yeah, the L-theanine, yes. Oh my goodness. And I think that's a big part of it for me because I am so high strung, as I know you can tell, that goes along with ADD. And so it helps me to just really calm down so that when I am trying to focus, let me tell you how bad I was. I was so bad that I would chew my nails down to as far as I could get them, and then pull all the skin around them off. Constantly sore. Stopped it. That's the response I had to it. So that tells you how much it calmed my central nervous system down. I mean, I was just, it was unbelievable. So I will not go without these. And I probably will never go without these. I mean, I've been told over and over, you don't have to take them forever. You know, you think I'm going to risk it? No. Okay, then MOA, 36 superfoods. I had a health coach that I signed up. She went crazy over the fact that it had, she verified everything. She looked everything up, tried to find where everything was coming from, that they were putting them in there. She called me. She was like, I need this stuff now. You got any of it at the store? I said, yeah, I do. I do. So I got her some, and she was like, oh, yeah, this is crazy. This box ought to cost $800. I said, well, don't tell them. I mean, calm down. But she was so blown away. I wish she was here today. She's here in town. I should have made her come so she could tell it, because she gets so excited and passionate like I do about it. But she loves this product. And I'll tell you, with the 36 superfoods, that's phenomenal. That's wonderful. We hear superfood all the time. This is a superfood. It has products in there, a pepper product that helps you absorb. When I tell you they have thought of everything, they have thought of everything. It's amazing. It blows my mind. If you are in the naturopathic world, the big thing in preventing the big diseases is mushrooms. Oh, they threw some of those in there too. Medicinal mushrooms. They're actually called medicinal. It is amazing that they have put everything in there. You cannot go wrong. Inflammation doesn't stand a chance with this product. My husband will not do without this. And now he loves the Limu too. But he will not do without his pouches. My 17-year-old son that was so sick carried a lot of weight because of the way that he held inflammation, and there was just certain things that never got balanced out properly. He never has metabolized or digested food like normal people do. And in this day and age, there's a whole lot of people like that now. He really set in on, he wanted to get the weight off. He'd come to Kristen and he would be so sore. And I mean, she didn't do anything abnormal with him. He would be so sore, it would take him a week to get to where he felt like he could go do it again. And he just wanted to quit. And he's one of those, I think we're really a lot alike. Type A, don't tell me, I'm going to figure it out myself. I'm going to do it myself. I mean, till this day, right now, 17, he doesn't want me buying any of his clothes. He doesn't want me buying his dinner. He doesn't want me, I'm like, please let me buy something. You know, you're still my little boy. But anyway, he is very independent thinking and wants to do everything on his own. So I could not tell him. So when Kristen was in there, I'd be like, when you see Reese, tell him that, you know, I would use everybody to get to him, you know. So one day he walks in, he says, I think I want to try that MOA stuff, Mom. I said, okay, here's a whole box. Just put it in your truck and just every day take it. Well, he got a bunch of buddies that were football players, and they were all going to the gym to work out at night. He wouldn't go with them because he knew he was going to hurt if he did any of it. And he knew they were going to push him and laugh at him if he didn't. So he started going with them, and he would come home and he was like, oh, I was like, did you drink your MOA? I said, if you'll drink that MOA, it'll help. That's what it's all about. A lot of it is for inflammation. It has 12 ingredients in there that fight inflammation. He drank the MOA. He went the next night. He drank the MOA. 40 pounds later, gone. He won't go without his MOA. Mom, I'm almost out of MOA. I buy 5 boxes a month of MOA for my house. My husband does 2 boxes. I do 1. My son does 1, and we hand out 1. So that is my story on these 3 products. I'm sure I missed some stuff. If you want to add something, Kristen. Okay. Now, these have worked wonders for me. But if somebody said to me, out of all the products and all the things that you've seen for all the people, what would be the one that everybody absolutely has to have? Well, yeah, we all need to fight inflammation. We all need to calm down. And we all need our hormones in check. Do not miss this. They just did a BOGO. Buy one, get one. Now it's over, but do not go a day without probiotics. If you want to fight anything and you want to boost anything in your health or in your body, and I'm telling you, it is for everything. I read a book, and I'm going to tell you what it is. I don't know that you can even find it anymore, but it's called Patient Heal Thyself. I got infested in my lungs with a fungus one time. Nobody could help me. I went to every doctor. I went everywhere. They tried. There's no disrespect to any of them. I have all the respect in the world for the medical world. They've saved my wild son 2 or 3 times. Before he got sick, he was in the ICU a couple of times for craziness. But anyway, I have all the respect in the world for that community. But they could not find what was wrong with my lungs. And I knew there was something strange. I had a fungus in there. I read Patient Heal Thyself by Jordan Rubin. And he said, I don't care what you got going on. You can take enough probiotics to help balance it out. Everything that goes on in your body that's not the way it's supposed to be is due to an imbalance. Disease is dis-ease. So I took his word for it. Now, he had a whole bunch of other stuff like goat milk and all this stuff in there that he wanted you to do. I didn't do any of that. I cut out anything that had the possibility of processed sugar, because that's what feeds it. And I took this one like it. This one is 10 times better than the one I took. I had to take 12 a day. In 3 months, I was better. It was gone. I could walk again. I couldn't walk from here to here without being out of breath. My lungs were literally, they were full of a energetic imbalance of fungal infestation. And I took probiotics that didn't nowhere near have the number of strains in it that this does. And it helped. I absolutely tell everybody about this. I tell everybody my story on these. But if I had to pick one, I would tell you, make sure you don't go without this. It's not expensive. It is ridiculously affordable compared to some that I bought in the past, some that I sell. So you think I won't be getting this in there to keep it in there and to have it available for everybody? I will be. This is something I tell people all the time about. So I love this. Okay, here's another big thing about probiotics. It's got to make it past your stomach acid. This one will. You want this in your gut. That is your key to absorption. You can eat all the good stuff you want. If you don't absorb your nutrients, it's not doing you a bit of good. I mean, you may get a little bit, 10%, but you want your absorption to be pristine. There's another product that they have called Noni. I just started on it. I do the Noni collagen. They have different ones, Noni sleep and Noni by itself. And is there another one? Energy. Oh, everybody loves energy. That's the other thing this one will do too, is clean energy. That's one thing I missed when I was talking about that. This is where the energy side of this transformation pack. These 3 are the transformation pack. The Noni collagen, one thing that all I can tell you about it is I know it when I don't have it. I can tell. And I get a quart of green juice in a day, a little bit of carrot juice, which is a superpower. I do my drops. I do, of course, the Rejuvenex, and I take a MOA. But I can tell still when I don't have the Noni collagen. I haven't studied enough on it to even know what all it does. I know there's a lot of trials and research that's been done on it, and it's been around a long time. So it wouldn't be if it wasn't productive. So I would encourage you to check it out. This company has a lot more products, and a whole lot of them I really love. Do you have that spray? Well, there's an antibacterial spray. I am a fanatic about smells. I do not want a plug-in near me. I can't stand it. I immediately get a headache, and I think I bring it on myself because I know what's in it. It's an inhalant toxin that is one of the worst. And I'm not talking about the brand. I'm talking about just those air things that are smelly. They make me feel very sick and have headaches. So I don't want any of that kind of stuff around me. This and the Lysol stuff to kill out, there's toxins in that. So you got to take that into consideration. Yeah, you're going to kill out whatever they say, 99%, 99.9% of the germs. But the stuff that New Age has come up with doesn't have any of that bad stuff in it. And it will kill 99.9%, it's proven, of the germs. That makes me so excited. I love it. So the options here are unlimited. Then you say, you know, some people will say to me, well, I don't want to work a business, just like Hot Chocolate back there, look at her. Out here working the business. When you find out that you have your hands on something that will help everybody, you can't help but tell them, you don't want to work a business, that's fine. But tell them, share it, don't hold back. Let them know there are options. Let them know there are other people out here that have walked that walk and can help them get to the products that will supplement their body. You cannot get everything in your body anymore with just food. I'm sorry, you can't. There is not a truly organic nothing out there anymore. If you can create a seed, you might have it. But we're not creators. So you will have to supplement to avoid the things that I hate to even say the words because I don't want to give them any power because they're enemies to us. The cancers, the autoimmunes, the mental health issues, all of those things. You have to give your body the power it needs, the supplements it needs, the energy it needs in order to keep you in what's called homeostasis, where you are pooping regularly, where your kidneys are working, where you're sweating when you should be, like I am right now. Bad attire choice. So my heart is for everybody to know that there are ways to boost your system and to live a better quality of life. I can't tell you how many have walked in and leaned on that counter because they can't stand up and tell me they will not quit drinking that diet drink. Now, you can tell me to do anything else you want to because I have a top 5. If somebody comes in, they're in a hurry, they don't want to go through the whole thing that I have. Okay, just quit these 5. Don't you tell me to give up my French fries. Whatever, you know, I don't know. Give it up. You won't even have to worry about it if you do this. You won't want it. That's power in raw, properly combined ingredients. These are real ingredients. There is nothing I love to talk about more than homeopathics because they're energetic. Your whole body is energetic. Everything around you is energetic. Dr. Cox talks about it all the time on the internet. It is so much that people don't understand and don't realize. Don't let negativity control you. Think positively. Look for products that help you do that. And I'm talking about clean products. My son driving to take some cases of juice. I have a lady in Linden that buys cases of juice. And he loves to take it to her. He just loves her. He loves to sit and talk to her. And on the way home, he got pulled over. And he calls me. I'm getting pulled over, Mom. I said, okay, just leave me on speaker. I mean, this is a regular occurrence. And so I said, okay, just leave me on speaker. And the policeman walks up. What are you doing out here, boy? You know, whatever. And he says, I just delivered a box of juice. And he went, juice? Well, my son is clueless. He doesn't understand that illegal steroids are called juice. So the policeman says, juice? He said, and he could sense him being like, so he goes, yes, my parents own a cold pressed juice place in Jackson, and I was delivering some juice. And he was like, oh, okay. So he went through this whole thing about, do you have any weapons and all this stuff. But I don't even know why I told you that story. I just thought it was funny. I need a little more rejuvenation. So anyway, I could go on in encouraging you, but you have to choose, and you need to choose it not just for you. That's where I messed up and waited too long. I started the products 2 years ago, whatever years ago, year and a half, 2 years. Chris spent all this time with me, and I went to work and put them in a cabinet at home, the ones that I needed the most. I love this one. And I was using it, and I will always use it, I'm sure. But take the time, make the investment. Hot chocolate is the best at helping you understand why it's so important at that. So if you want to come on up here, if there is anything I can do to help you decide, to help you get on track, to encourage you to share the knowledge, share what you've learned today. If you've learned anything, I don't know. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions afterwards. But this lady, I told her, I've had a major tragedy in my family in the last few weeks, the last couple of months, and it shut me down. But I'm better now. And I don't think I would have been better as quickly had I not had my support, my friends, my husband, my children, and my products that make me feel better, my juice. But they asked me to come do this today, and I did it for you all, but number one, I did it for her because she has worked so hard to tell people and encourage people and constantly getting together with people. So I thank you for getting me up out of my hole and bringing me here today. Hot chocolate. Oh, I love you. I love you.
That's hard to come behind. Jenna's a wonderful person. What you saw up here, that's who she is for real every day. And I'm just taking just a few moments. Actually, I asked Kristen for these moments the other day. I'm sorry, who invited you? Okay, okay, I was wondering if her guest was here. Okay, we're taking good care of you. All right. But I just wanted to encourage whoever's watching, whoever may be here, whether you're in the business or not. One of the things that I have found for myself and even the community around me is the importance of being in an atmosphere where people have already done it. Okay, they've already done something great, whether it's made millions of dollars, whether it's lost the weight, whether it started her own juice business, whether it is transforming lives in her own gym and creating avenues for the rest of us to get healthier, whether it's made millions, they've made millions. Like my mentor who's here, Chris, and Todd Rowland. When you're in these atmospheres, your life can shift. The problem with most of the people that I personally know, they're not willing to give up comfort to get into a great atmosphere, an atmosphere of greatness. It changes your life. And to those watching, if you can connect with someone, you may not know someone personally, but guess what? You have social media, you have groups you can join to connect. Last year, well, actually 2019, before COVID, I told my husband, I said, I need new atmospheres. I need to shift something. I come from a culture where we have New Year's Eve service. Every year, we go to church the day before New Year's, and then we rejoice that night about all that's gonna happen the following year. I am not against that, but I realized for me, I needed to see someone who had already done it. Instead of me praying and crying and hoping for greatness to touch my life or money to come or this avenue to come, why not step into an atmosphere where it's already happened? So I talked to my husband. I said, listen, can you be without me New Year's Day? I need to do something. I said, I need to go to Miami Oprah Winfrey is doing a tour. All my friends say I'm crazy because this is not the traditional thing we do for New Year's Eve. He said, babe, you got my support, go. So I went to see Oprah. Why? Because the atmosphere was charged with success, with greatness, billionaires, millionaires. Gail was in the aisle right across from me. And you know, I'm looking at these people, and I met some incredible people. I felt something shift. My expectation upgraded. So then I went back to see her again the next month in Dallas. And she said something. She said, God has a bigger dream for us than we have for ourselves. And I'd heard her say it. It's what I believed before I heard her say it. But there was something that clicked differently in me. And then, so I also went a couple months prior to her, I went to New Jersey to see Preston Bailey. And it was like 150 of us who had registered to go for a 3-day event. If you don't know Preston Bailey, he did Serena Williams' wedding. He did Oprah Winfrey's 50th birthday. He's a decorator for kings and queens. I don't know if there's anyone greater right now than him and what he does. So everybody there was an event planner. So he went through the whole room, very personable, and asked everybody, why are you here? And everybody was an event planner. So when he got to me, he said, what's your name? I said, well, my radio name is Hot Chocolate. And, you know, everybody's like, oh, what, really? And so he said, why are you here? I said, to get a vision for an event I'd like to plan for myself. He's like, really? And everybody came to me afterwards and said, you spent all this money and you're not an event planner? I said, no, I just needed a vision. And from being in that vision, and Team Hot Chocolate coming in the room, from being in that vision, in that atmosphere, my mind shifted again. Then March, right before COVID hit hard, I went to Detroit to be in the atmosphere of another millionaire. Why? Because I needed to be somewhere where people had enough for themselves and to change somebody else's life too. And in order to do that, I had to be in a different space, in a different environment. Why did I invite my radio audience the last couple of days? Come on to this, because atmosphere is everything. I knew that in this room will be people who've made millions moving out of their comfort zone. I knew that in this room will be people like Burl, who was on a cane a few months ago and now walking with heels on today. Come here, Burl. So they'll know I'm not talking about an imaginary person online. Burl, can you do a squat? Can you do?
Let's start squatting. I want to dance.
Do it. But here was somebody, she's my personal assistant. And so Burl was on a cane and she was constantly getting worse. But to be in an atmosphere, and I teach her that, and everybody who's connected to me, being in an atmosphere of greatness, if you're open, your mind will expand. You'll want more. And for me, somebody said to me recently, well, Achaka, you do a lot for people. No. I want to have enough to change somebody's life. Until I can literally pay off your house and know everything's taken care of in our house. Until I can pay your medical bills off so that people can have a free course and a new start in life, I don't have enough. So today, these products connected me to people like Todd, like Chris, who've done it already, who've seen millions flow through their business, who have seen lives change because they didn't quit. So being in the right atmosphere changes everything. So my husband and I took a huge leap last year that I'll talk about another time, a successful leap, because I had been in the right atmospheres and I connected, and my level of belief and vision had soared beyond where it was. I've always been a visionary, always been a dreamer, but I needed to dream bigger because God has a bigger dream for all of us.
Amen.
Than we have for ourselves. Right. So I hope that today that you connect with us, because we're a family. Everybody who's already in the business here, we're a family. You don't just come in a business. I've been in businesses, but you're coming into a family. And my motto is don't quit. I started the insurance business everybody quit the business except me. I was horrible for 5 years. The only reason I became a success is because I didn't quit. I kept going. Even when I was failing, I didn't quit until I started to win. So go after your vision. Don't quit. Be in the right atmospheres. There's greatness waiting for all of us. And the dream, oh my goodness, we've not even tapped into it yet. So I am so very, very, very excited to be here. And I don't know who I'm supposed to be introducing. Oh, wow. Okay. It gives me great honor to introduce a guy that I've come to know and love because he's done it already. And not only has he done it already, he's constantly motivating and encouraging us and helping us believe that we can as well. It gives me great honor. He came all the way from some part of Florida. Destin. Oh, I love Destin. We need to hang out more with him. Yes. My husband and I love Destin. He came all the way from Destin, Florida to help us understand a business that can change our lives. Todd Rowland, it gives me great honor.
Thank you. Hey, you know that in all of the years, every successful person I have has the same quality. They just have energy, like you want to be around them. So those of you know Beryl, she's just that person I just want to be near her. I want to hear her speak. I want to hear what she got to say. And a lot of times the ones that don't have success are the people that you go around and like, oh my God, I'm exhausted when I leave. It's just like, God, so you're special, like special.
Thank you.
You have no idea. We admire you like you cannot believe.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
It really is. It's amazing.
Thank you.
All right. So I generally carry around a PowerPoint, but this has been so spectacular. Like, this is worth my whole trip from Destin, Florida, if I didn't share one word with you. This is beyond belief the way it was presented today. So I'm just going to continue down that path. And by the way, if you're here, we're going to be out here in less than 30 minutes. So we're almost done. It's a quick morning. I've got to write a couple things on the board. Another gentleman that's like Beryl, I met about 1.5 years ago. And, you know, he asked me about 8 or 9 months ago, could he ride with me because he wanted to learn what I do, because he is doing this full time. But when he got in the front seat of my truck, I was like, this dude knows a lot of stuff I don't know. Like, we're from 2 different generations, and I started picking his brain. And one particular thing, we were on social media studying stuff. We were listening to these podcasts, and he come across this thing, and I was like, that's it, Anthony. That's what we do. So we created some slides with it. We don't need a slide. He got it memorized. But Anthony, as I'm drawing this on the board, will you come share? Because we're not just changing our own health. We're in a mission of changing other people's health. And our whole program, which is called Level Up, is about leveling up health and finances. And Anthony, share your story too, but share the whole concept of the Uber and what we're doing and how we're doing that. I'm going to be drawing this on the board, and I'm going to show you how to take advantage of it.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday. Good morning. I'm Anthony Moreland from Dallas, Texas, and I got started on my journey leveling up almost a decade ago. You know, I really don't tell people it's been almost a decade next month. On the 22nd of next month, it'll be a decade. But at that time, I was a double major. In college, I ran track at the University of La Tech, and then I also I had two part-time jobs. So I was busy. At 21 years old, I realized I did not have to want to work 2 jobs the rest of my life, you know, and I was just looking for something. I just didn't know what it was going to be. And I remember I got a call, just like you got a call, from somebody that loved and cared about you. And that was my friends that was on the track team. Said, Anthony, we may have something that may or may not be for you. We just want you to look. And when I heard everything, I heard the products, I heard the testimonials, I said, those products alone will be great for my family. But at that time, I wasn't looking to lose weight. I was looking to also redirect my current spending, what I was spending at the other places like GNC and all those other places. So I looked at the products as that standpoint, I could redirect that spending. But for me, it was the finances. I was looking for something I could do on my time that didn't take away from time freedom when I needed it, but also it didn't have no cap on how much you can make. Because I was always so used to, I had to go clock in to make money. That's what I was used to. But when I always wanted to be a business owner, but I just didn't know how. Nobody in my family really ever had a traditional business. Everybody just kind of worked for somebody else. And I didn't want that. I wanted more out of life. And when I seen this opportunity, I seen that I didn't have to stockpile the products in the trunk of my car. I didn't have to. All I had to do was show people how they can get it online and it'd be shipped to their front door. And that comes to the point of what me and Ty we were looking at, because that's what our world is going to, direct to consumer. People are more open now to order things off Amazon and anywhere offline and have it come to their front door than ever before. 5 years ago, 7 years ago, no, not at all. I remember I could never get my grandfather to put his card online. And about 6 months ago, I was able to buy him a recliner chair with his card, but he gave it to me and said, hey, go buy it for me online. You wouldn't have to go to the store. We can buy it online. They'll ship it to me. I was like, are you serious, Grandpa? But I remember I tried to buy him something years ago, but he did not want that. And so it was things like that I'm starting to realize that people are more open. And also something that really hit me when I seen this was last year, Uber passed up all the taxis, all the transportation companies, and they own 0 cars. 0. They have 0 cars that they own. People are using their own car to get people around in big cities. Well, also, last year, we watched Netflix take over the movie theaters. They own 0 movie theaters. And people are more happy now to watch new movies coming out from their home. Hey, we'll all sit on the couch and we'll watch it on our big screen. And that's what people are comfortable doing. Well, they got passed up. They own 0 movie theaters. Also, Airbnbs. This is one of the biggest ones because I never thought in my life I would see people open up their homes to strangers to say, hey, you can stay here for a week or a couple days, enjoy your vacation, and you just pay us. Now more people, they own 0 hotels, and they passed up all the hotels. And then Amazon passed up Walmart, and they own 0 stores that people can come in and shop because people are more open to doing things. And that all comes back to direct to consumer. People are looking for a way to do something from home, order things online. And with our company, New Age, back in the, that's the main company. Level Up is the movement. New Age is going to provide the products. They're going to provide the tools, a lot of tools that we have, that the app, and they provide it. All we have to do is get out there and share it. And online is real, real big for people. And now you can just order online. A person could be pretty much in what we have, 75 markets. And they can order a product and it gets shipped straight to their door. So you don't even have to ship it to them. You just have to say, hey, well, let's put your information in online and then it gets sent to your house. And I just absolutely love that because now, even though I've been riding around with Todd, I can still work my business in Africa. I can work my business with my team in Europe. I can work it in other parts of the United States, but I could be in the front seat of his car doing business. And then I also I walked to the car. I did a Zoom with the Canadians on the truck at the tailgate of Ty's truck. And see, that's the awesomeness of this. Oh, I got one. And then oh yeah, I have. I hope they can hear me. I can't see the chat right now. I'm always looking at it to make sure everybody can see me. But what Tyler's going to show you is how you develop. We've been listening to different things, and we wanted to make it the most simplest way for you to level up your life. And if you're here, mostly everybody that was just here for the products has already left. You're here because you really want to build something. And there's no better 2 people than I can tell you where Money Man, where I call him Money Man. That's Chris's dad. I call him Money Man. He's always talking about money. But he knows how to attract the money too. But then Todd is also, he can show you how to generate the millions that you truly want in your life with this business alone. Now, of course, they can teach you other ways as well. But with this business alone, you can go as far as you want and leave a legacy for you and your family. All you have to do is just do a couple of little things here. And I don't know if he needs me. You need me to stay up here?
Not yet. Okay. I'll call you back.
Okay.
I do want to ask him one question real quick. Let me get Beryl this one she needs. Here you go, Beryl. I just wanted to ask Anthony a couple of questions because when I started in the industry, I originally was a football coach at Covington. I had actually taken a job over in Fort Smith, Arkansas, but I was Anthony's age. I was 31 years old. And at that particular time in my life, for the first 10 years of what people would consider their real adult life, we lived head, nose like this with the water like right there, talking about the bills. And many months that nose went underwater. And it's like, holy cow. And I always tell people, I did not go find this. You're here looking, you're a lot smarter than I was. I was praying for a lottery. I was praying, but I was praying for a lottery ticket. I just wanted some help. Some people hate what they do. I wasn't looking for a career change. I loved what I did. I loved it. I landed an amazing job. Football coaches, a lot of you don't know the truth about us, but the ones with the best athletes, if you don't screw it up, generally wins. And I hit a school that had some good athletes and we were winning, kind of like Nick Saban in Alabama. I mean, he's got to screw it up. You got some good athletes down there. But I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. I know when at 31, I just wanted better. So question to you, really, now that you're 31, I want to know what you see you creating for you and your future wife and kids over the next 4 or 5 years. Like, what do you see you can do?
I feel I can financially, there would never be an issue for me and my family in the future. Never. Finances would never be an issue. Even though I grew up, I watched my mom also struggle the same way. Work 2-3 jobs, and it still seems like she had more money than money. My family would never have to do that because of where this company is going. I watched it when I first joined this company, where they did $125 million a year. And I was like, wow. The very following year, they did $250 million. Just last year, the company was $600 million. So I watched the company grow, and then they talk about their vision. And one of their visions is over the next few years, they want to become a $2.5 billion company. And I'm a numbers guy. I love math. And so I broke that down. I was like, you know how many millionaires that is? It's 1,000 millionaires per billion.
Yep.
So my question to myself was, and the question you can ask yourself is, what piece of the pie do I want to get from my family? My next goal is to retire my mom. The reason my grandfather gets to sit at home in his recliner is because now I make enough to pay part of their bills. So he didn't have to work anymore to foot the bill and help us out anymore. So that was goal number 1, to retire him. Goal number 2 is to retire my mom. And with this opportunity, I can do just that. And you can achieve any goal that you want. But so in the next, 3 to 5 years, money won't be an issue. I'll be able to travel the world wherever I want to. Time is already not an issue for me. And money isn't an issue for me. But I also thinking like Todd, the future of my family, like, okay, when the time does come, money won't be an issue.
And the last thing, and you're gonna. By the way, I promise you, we're out of here before 12. But I'm good. I got like 4 different people. Jen did it yesterday to me at the juice store. Kristen did it to me a couple days ago. Beryl. Everybody keeps knowing. Everybody wants to know how to do this. So the reason I said scratch your PowerPoint, I'm going to show you exactly what to do. Like, if you want to get rich here, I've heard a bunch of people tell people what to do, but I ain't never seen anybody make any money except what I'm going to tell you. He did exactly this when he was 20 years old in a little town called, what I'm getting ready to explain to you, he had a real good upline, taught him exactly what to do, and him and some other guys, he had 3 or 4 guys just slightly older, they went and did this format and built a really big business in Ruston, Louisiana, where he was running track there at Louisiana Tech. But I tell you, I always have these aha moments here, but we were working with Jerry and Allison down in Ripley, and he started telling me about, he's like, yeah, back in like 2000 and whatever it was, 11, 12, 13, he said, I had a real hot group in Pontotoc, Mississippi. He said, then I don't work the business anymore, but I make like $1,000 a week off residual income because they don't ever not drink that Lemieux drink. So what I'm about to show you, it popped from Ruston, Louisiana, and one of his best people came out of Pontotoc, Mississippi. And he didn't even know where it was. He saw a sign and said, we're close to Pontotoc. So last question for you, and I'm going to show you how to do it. He's not rich yet. Like, we never mislead people. Anthony's not making $1 million a year yet. But he makes more than enough residual income when he wakes up on Saturday morning off a group of people ordering products on Friday night on a subscribers cave that he never has to work again as long as he lives. You retired from Apple at 26, 25?
26.
So he's 31 now. He ain't had a job in 5 years. He just does what he wants to do. Like he can't go buy the house on the beach in Hawaii yet, but he can go to Hawaii. So there's all levels to financial independence. But I will tell you, number one level to financial independence, because I bought a lot of things through my life and ain't none of them worth a dang. What I would never trade once I figured it out, time. When you control your time and build your schedule the way you want it, life is a totally different life here on this earth. But I just wanted you to mention that, just what it's like living on residual income.
Residual income is something I believe everybody should have. And the reason why is because we all have residual bills. We all have residual bills. Guess what? You all pay nowadays you all pay a cell phone bill every single month. You pay your light bill. You pay and if you own your home, you still pay the state tax or property tax. You pay rent. You pay water. You pay all these things every single month. What do you have coming in every single month if you stepped away for a month? There's a couple of business people in here, but even Kristen knows if she doesn't open the gym and turn the lights on, then nothing happens. No money flows through if it doesn't get cut on. What I loved about this model was if you build it and you just start with you and you go find yourself 4 or 5 people, that find you a couple people that want to order the product, and then you show them how to subscribe and save, and then you go spend your time with them, you'll start to notice that residual income and that leverage. See, because there's only so many hours in a day. And there's only so many hours in a day. There's only so many hours in a week, in a month for you to do. Well, and what I always think about when I think about time and leverage is if I just spent, like I did a decade ago, I spent 10 hours a week in my business. That was it when I first started. That's all I had. An hour here, 30 minutes here. On Saturdays, I had a couple more hours, but I was still tired after practice. But I spent at least 10 hours. I made a commitment, 10 hours a week. But then what I learned was when I had people join me, I showed them how to spend 10 hours a week. Well, think about that. If it was just me putting in 10 hours, it's 10 hours. But I had 10 people join me. Just, I brought 2 or 3 people. They brought a couple people. I had 10 people in my business. I showed them 10 hours. Now that's 100 hours extra on top of my 10 hours that I put in. Well, okay, even throughout my busy week, it was 100 hours. I wouldn't have been able to do it. But then I did it another level, and I watched it go from 100 hours to 1,000 hours. There's not even 1,000 hours in a week for me to do that. But because of leverage and time with this business, it allowed me, I was able to do something that kept growing and kept growing and kept growing. Now, every single week, it's tens of thousands of hours of people in my business doing something somewhere in the world. And that's how you build a true long-term residual income, because our products work. We know that. Matter of fact, if you've seen some kind of experience with one of our products, just raise your hand. Yeah, just something, just using it. So the products work. We don't have to be scientists. We don't have to be as smart as Kristen on the products, or Jen. But guess what? If you use the products and use it like the book says and how Kristen shares with you how to use it, guess what? We know the products will work. So now all we got to do is spread the word and show people how they can just spend little pockets of time, 30 minutes here, 20 minutes here, an hour here. And then you start building true leverage. And I watch Ty. I watch him. I also watch him work in spurts. He goes until he burns himself out. And then he's like, okay, it's time to go relax my mind. But because of this industry, I watch him build and pour into people and build other leaders. And then guess what? He can't afford to take a week off or 2 weeks, however long he needs to recruit his mind and then gets back out there. But that's how you build a true long-term residual income here, is by pouring into others, but also showing other people that they don't have to do 50 hours a week. This is a part-time thing. 10 hours a week can really grow you something here. Don't overwhelm yourself, but 10 hours a week is how I started. I'm pretty sure Ty was 10 to 15 hours a week when he first started. Most successful people are part-time. And so just get good at that right there with the leverage and time frame.
Awesome, man. And by the way, if anybody's got any social media questions when this is over with, grab him off to the side because he is really, really good at it. Okay, so we're going to walk through now how to do this. And I'm going to start right here. By the way, Jen, that was an amazing presentation. You should have seen all the comments flowing back there on your Facebook Live. I was zooming. It was really good. One, you're a good communicator. Two, you were very passionate. But I'll tell you my favorite part. You kept it simple. And that was always my philosophy as a high school football coach, especially coaching in high school where you can't recruit. And, you know, everybody's not always committed. Some of them are just on the team. So KISS, keep it simple, stupid. You got to have about a dozen plays. Everybody knows exactly who to block. You can be one of them creative coaches on have 120 plays and everybody think you're smart. And then on Friday night, don't nobody ever block. At least 11 people don't always block the right person. 10 might, 9 might. And it just takes one to screw it up. So I have built my whole 20-year business. I say 20 years, but Chris will tell you, Kristen knows, because I've known Kristen, she was in high school. I took off for 5 years. And when I say I took off, Chris couldn't even find me. Unless he drove to Florida and came put a lawn chair next to me on the beach, he didn't find me. Or came watch the football team I was coaching down there in the period of time. Didn't work, didn't draw another penny from another person on planet Earth. I just lived on residual income and enjoyed life. And I recouped. And so, I mean, some people wait till they're 77 to do that. I did that from like 40 to 45, I guess, is that time frame, maybe 40 to 46. So it's possible. It's possible. Just I'm going to go back and remind you, because I don't know a lot of you. I was coaching 45 minutes from here at Covington High School with a PE degree. That was my start. That was the only thing I had in my back pocket when this whole thing began. Okay, so let's walk through this real quick. If I want to build a business, I would walk around with these 3 products and these 3 sheets I just gave you. That is all you need. When you see Anthony and I do a co-presentation with a PowerPoint, it's really informative. You'll get a lot of nuts and potatoes, but it's really hard to duplicate. Like, it's hard to go repeat what you just saw us do, because we do it every day. Sometimes we do it 4 times a day. Sometimes Anthony on Zooms does it 12 times a day. And you don't have to be Jen. Jen's got a personal story, and that's what makes it so good. But guess what? Everybody in this room has a personal story. Melody's got a personal story. Beryl's got a personal story. Everybody, Sheila got a personal story. Allison, Jerry, you share your story, your experience. Until you have an experience, you do one of 2 things. You share someone else's experience, or you take them with you. And that's called a 2-on-1 process. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. I just want to let you know this is the starting point. This is exactly when I met Chris years ago. Chris was my polar opposite. Chris was really, really successful. I mean, my dad paid my way in network marketing. If he had not, I would still be coaching high school football. I could have never came up with the money. I didn't have the money to buy this pack. It wasn't in my budget. My budget was, I was still trying to figure out how to eat at McDonald's after church on Sunday. I had 4 kids and a wife at home. Chris had made millions. So Beryl says this all the time. It's all about mindset. Until you can get it in your head, it's hard to chase it. So like, that's what I said, Beryl, hot chocolate, hot chocolate, hot chocolate. Hot chocolate says it all the time. She's always growing her mind. She's chasing whoever's more successful than she is and getting that knowledge in her head. That allows her then to have it in her head where she can throw it off on other people. So actually, Chris was using me for knowledge in the business, but I was using Chris for his big mind. I was listening to his boat stories on the river and about his wife driving Porsches that were convertibles and all these different cars he had. And I was like, yeah, I didn't ever let him know at the time. I was like, that's what I want one day. So he'd lost his vehicle. And that's all this is if you're here from a financial standpoint. So let's start here really simply. We have 2 things available. We have the ability to change someone's health. So if I walk in the room or the McDonald's or the Starbucks, and that's where that person is mentally, don't push them the other way. Now, Anthony, what is it you say to people when they don't want to be a thing? You have something you do to describe. Something about 90 days didn't get you there. So what was that comment I hear you say all the time? How do you get on the pack and the subscribe and save?
Oh,
He does this with strangers now. It ain't like these are people on Zoom around the world.
well, I tell people all the time, and he was talking about a group that we put together, and he looked and he was like,
put 60, I know exactly, put 65 people in the business in 70 something days, and 58 of them were on the subscribe and save. And they're in Dallas, California, South Carolina. They all over this country. He's met only the ones we met this weekend in South Carolina in person. None of the rest he had never met in person. He did it all over the line.
And he's like, what do you do? Well, I always tell people when I'm sharing with somebody, even if they just want to do the products or lose weight or do the skincare and do one of the pack, I always tell people your body did not get like that overnight. So in 30 days, you may or may not see something, but it's going to take at least 90 days for your body to really start to see something. So if you're going to do this, give it a 90-day shot. So I tell them they can grab a pack. That will allow them to, there'll be about a month's supply, then find something that they want to try every single month. And that will allow them over time, 90 days. And then what that does is they actually making a commitment to really try them. So I really don't even like signing people up unless they subscribe and say, I tell them, don't cheat yourself. That's really what I tell them. Don't cheat yourself.
We give them the 800 number on the spot. They can call and cancel next week. They can change up whatever. But when they do that, I want to say this is you. When you do or did that, by the way, can you believe I used to teach your kids? I was your football coach. I was the real one. That principal knew right away. He wanted me on the football field, but he did not want me in the classroom. And that worked out real well for both of us because I hated the classroom. But you're going to see in a second where this goes to. So this is you. You've got your start. $29.99 under normal circumstances right now, just because you want to get healthy because the $29.99 wave, you have a business that can make you tens of millions of more dollars than Kristen's $250,000 gym here. Why? Because she doesn't have these two things on her side. Her gym only makes money when she or one of her trainers opens the door and people pay her. It's a degree of residual because she does have some monthly payments from people that have good intentions that never show up. But for the most part, it is a trade time for money business. And obviously all jobs are that way. But the second thing, not Kristen, not Todd, not Chris, not Anthony, you today, brand new. When you become that right there, you just became Ray Kroc when he had one little hamburger joint in California. You have the ability to franchise out and expand and create you got to have leverage to create wealth. I've used this story for years. When Chris owned the big Stonewash Blue business, he was the owner. He had 430 employees. Most of them, if you combined all of their wages together, were not making what he was making. He was making as much as all 430 employees. And Chris doesn't get upset when I say that. That's the shittiest system on planet Earth. You'd have 400 people working for the ability to stay broke while one person gets rich. That's the illegal pyramid of the world. It is. None of those employees could ever make what he made. The second they were making more than he made, he filed bankruptcy. Because that means the business is going south. Every now and then you'll get a little chain of command going like in a bank. You'll got a vice president and president, and everybody makes a bit more than everybody else. Somebody's got to get fired. It becomes a dog-eat-dog world. Everybody wants the next person. Here, we're all on equal playing field. Ain't nobody competing against each other. It's your business. You're the top, whatever you want to call this. You're the top of your own pyramid. You're the top of your own business, and it's up to you. Whatever you want to do with it. So what we're looking to do, if you look on that day 1 through 60 sheet, down at the bottom, says phase 1, number 6, we are looking for 4 people to level up with us. I'm getting ready to tell you how to do it, but I want you to have it in your mind. How do I get 4 people to level up with me? I get them to do a transformation pack or a beast mode pack or whatever it is your pack, whatever it is that you love. Don't go get them to buy 121 of the products that we offer. Find the niche. And that's all you talk about. The rest will come later down the road when they get trained. And remember, any of these 4, we don't care. They can be interested in the health, they can be in the finance, for the business side, or both. Because one thing I will guarantee you in this industry is nobody even knows. They lie to themselves and to us. I have people all the time tell me they're going to get in this and get rich. And on third day out, I'm like, did you change your number? Because I've been calling you for 3 weeks. You told me you're going to get rich doing this, and I can't even get you to return my phone call. I have others that sign up, like Miss Beryl told Jen, I think maybe initially. Beryl, why am I doing that? Like Hot Chocolate told Jen initially. I guess I kept hearing you say Beryl out here. It stuck in my head. But when Hot Chocolate told Jen she wanted to try those products, or maybe it was the business. I know she was one or the other. You were the business more in the beginning. And then you got introduced to Level Up and started exercising. So it was business for her first. And then she says, I need to change my health too. And then others enter and they're like, I will never do the business. I just want to feel better. But they end up losing. Is Richard Tuggle was that person, Richard Tuggle? I wish I had my slide. That's the one slide I wanted to show. But Richard Tuggle has now lost 125 pounds on the product, but swore to Chris he would never do the business. And now he's basically full-time at it. I mean, you start losing weight and transform, everybody starts asking what you're doing. You get a little taste of a Friday paycheck, come in residual in nature. You're like, I'd like that to be a little more than it is this Friday, next Friday. So we get 4. We teach them. What that is all them going and getting their 4. But I want you to visualize this. I want you to see the bad handwriting and the squares. And I want you to visualize this gym. This is your gym. This is you franchised out 4 gyms that are selling memberships and products and T-shirts, except now then, you get your little percent on their gyms, and you ain't even running it. And then remember the key word here, leverage. By the time this happens just 2 times, you get your 4, and now they go get their 4. Look at that. That's 16 if you count them up. So 4 goes to 16. If you add it together, now you got 20 gyms. Kristen could shut this one down, although she makes all the profit on this gym. If she only made just a couple of percent on 16 gyms, 16 times 3% profit, she's probably already more profitable than she was in her single gym, except now then she's in Hawaii. Okay? It's leverage. But then 16 times 4 is what, 84? Is that right, Anthony? 64. Now you got 64. And 64 goes to 240 something, I believe. 256. 256. Okay. We've only made it happen 4 times. You got 4 people on a transformation pack who got 4 people who got 4 people. It just repeated 4 times. Every now and then you're going to go find, how many people you personally sponsored, Jen? 30?
Maybe.
So she sponsored 30. Beryl, you're upwards of 100. Good Lord. Hot Chocolate, you're upwards of, Beryl, let me tell you what it is. It's all been posted. You walk it again on Facebook. Hot Chocolate. You got about 100 plus personally sponsors, don't you? Around 100? I'll take that. Okay. So we're going to make up for the person that only takes the product, because we're going to find some are going to get more than their 4. Just average it out over time. 4 gets 4 gets 4. Well, 256 plus 64, that's over 300. You're about 350 CrossFit gyms like this now throughout the, who in here, think about this for a second. Who in here would like to have 350 of these with Kristen running them out there? You don't have to know what she, well, you don't have to know what she's doing. You just need to own the gym. You just need to get your little 5% override cut because you franchise it out to all these experts that want to run a gym for life. Well, see, that's what Kristen figured out. This is her passion. But what she figured out, although she gets to wake up every day, I found this out in coaching. It was my passion. Although we both loved what we did, we had none of that. And it became a finite amount of money we could make, and it became a finite amount of time we were ever going to really have, quality time we would have with our family. So in order to break out of that, we had to build a system. So now you ask, how do I do this? And I'm going to tell you, the answer is really simple. The first thing you have to do is ask yourself, why? Why do I want to lose weight? Why? Listen, losing weight is really hard for one simple reason. It's easy to make a decision at a meal. But Lord have mercy, I do this full time, and it's daily. Sheila's trying to force cheesecake cookies through me last night. Chris has got pork on this bun. I mean, we all know this is real. It's a bombardment on us hourly, daily. It's always something to say, just give me one, Sheila. Just give me one of those, Chris. But then you start compounding that over a daily basis, and you go from a high school football coach to this. And it wasn't because I eat bad. I don't. I am a health nut. It's just, hey, let's go grab a bite real quick before you head back to Florida. Hey, after the meeting's over, let's go do Chili's real quick. It just, and that's, we all have it. So I gotta have a goal. That is my favorite thing about the Level Up community. I don't have to wake up at 5:30 in the morning and come into this gym with Artis Hicks and Kristen Doyle and feel like a peon. And then when I leave for 3 days, I'm like, oh my God. It's a good thing. But in Level Up, I can just do little things every day. I can force a gallon of water down myself. I can open up this box of drops and put it underneath my tongue 10 minutes before I eat 3 times a day. I didn't say it was easy, but it's a heck of a lot easier being here at 5:30 with Chris Adult. If you don't believe me, show up. I've done it. It is way easier. And by the way, if you're above 35 years old, you will never outrun the forks. I don't care how much you show up with Kristen. Until you change your eating habits, the weight's not going to start coming off. Now, she's going to build the muscle and other things and help keep it off. The B12 in here, energy, all that good kind of stuff. And then the approved food list. Judy said this about my daughter last night. When my daughter was in like 6th and 7th grade, she got a little overweight, probably about 35 pounds overweight. I joined this company when she was in the 7th grade, and I took that book right there and I put it on our refrigerator. And I did exactly what our doctor told us. I threw away everything in our house that wasn't on the list. So there was nothing. My kids thought their dad had lost their mind, and they were not happy. I started cooking eggs in coconut oil, and they hated it. But you know, today they're all in college or out, and they live their life cleaner than I do. It like stuck. And she's a little slim thing now in college. I almost wish she was fat because I hate them boys liking her. It's the only thing I hate about the program. The second piece. So remember, there's 2 things available. Why do I want my finances to be better? Okay, some people make good money, but they trade a lot of their life to get it. It's like, and there's no end date. It's like I'm looking out there, and what I'm dreading to do, I'll be dreading to do when I'm 60 and 70 and 82, but I've got to have it. So this is about time freedom, residual income, retirement, education funds, all those things. I have one secret. Anthony will tell you, I am not that talented of a guy. I'm really not. I am not that talented in this business. I could not do what Jen just did as effective as she just did it. That was a better presentation I've ever been able to do, and I've been in the business for 8 years. It was incredible. I am not as good of a communicator as Hot Chocolate is. She can speak life into you. I mean, she is magical. It's her DNA. I mean, it's unbelievable. I have one secret. The system I'm about to show you in this I got 15 minutes left. I do it relentlessly. Like I'm committed. I don't chase shiny objects. I don't let people tell me shortcuts and get me off track. Like everybody's got a shortcut that don't want to do what it takes to build a big business. But ain't none of them, most of them with shortcuts ain't made 20% of what I've made in this industry, much less have the Chris. None of them. I ain't even close. Because to get wealthy in this business, it requires you to do one thing that most people are not going to be willing to do every day. You got to go invest in people's lives. You got to get to know them. You got to become friends with them. You got to know their kids. You got to know them. Like I got to know what Hot Chocolate wants. I don't get to do it as much with Hot Chocolate because Kristen's got me cut off. Kristen's her friendship. And then just above Kristen, she got Chris. Chris is her business guy. So Listen, they tell me every day. I'm asking every day. I already know you meet with Chris once a week for your hour coaching. You got to, I got it. I know everything you're doing. I keep up with you nonstop. But so I don't do it with hot chocolate as much because I got two incredible leaders in between us. But if I'm responsible for the group, I'm burying into them. So here's how I bury into them. And I got to tell you one last thing. By the way, on this why, I'm a big believer in this. Matter of fact, Oprah Winfrey is a massive believer in this. If you ever watch some of her shows on law of attraction and things, but I will tell you, and I say this all the time, but half the time people will hear me and you will not do it. You must write it down and draw it out in detail. Whatever it is that you want, you got to draw your future out. Write it specific. If you're a woman and you want a new house, don't write down, I want a new house. You draw the kitchen, you draw the bedrooms, you draw the size of the closet, you draw the land it's going to be on, you draw the four-wheelers in the barn, you draw it all. I don't care if it's your kids going to college and right now you're not going to be able to afford to send them, you pick the college, you draw the certificate up, you draw it and you frame it and stick it somewhere you got to see it. That right there changed my life. I don't have time to tell the story. I'm going to give you a 10-second version of it. When I first went full-time, I was coaching in Fort Smith, Arkansas, and I wanted to move back over here. I rented a house. Chris has been to it in Ripley, Tennessee, out in the middle of nowhere, about 45 minutes from here, truly in the middle of a soybean field. I had learned this, and I had it on my dream board. I drew out what I wanted: house, white fence. I took a couple four-wheelers. I had a barn. I had, you name it. True story. I ended up living there about 3 years. And although I'd done that at an event I went to, I stuck it in a box. 3 years later, I bought a house in Florence, South Carolina from a doctor. And when we were unpacking the boxes, I pulled it out. The long driveway with all those blooming trees that they had a white fence line in the driveway. When you put up in the house, the barn was right there. The swimming pool was in the back. And I had already bought two four-wheelers. Chris knows. I had two four-wheelers in Ripley that I drove over there. We pulled that out of the box because I still didn't know how to teach it yet. Remember, I was still in the learning phase in that time frame. The house on the yellow sheet of paper I had driving down the road with my wife in the front seat together was 98% of the house I bought in South Carolina, not even thinking about it, was the picture I drew on the sheet of paper about 3.5 years previous to that. It was the most, it's chill, but I've still got the picture today, and I can show you the house today. You will not believe it when you see it. So huge believer. You got to draw it and magnetically. Oprah used to do, I don't know if you know this or not, but Oprah used to do a ton of shows on the law of attraction. Listen, I'm a Christian. I'm a Jesus believer. I don't get into the hokey pokey stuff, but you got to have you got to believe it so the right things will show up in your life to allow you to achieve it. Okay. Knowledge. Got to get better. Okay. Jen didn't do this presentation because she joined our company a couple of weeks ago. She did this presentation because she's been gathering knowledge now for a couple of years on the whole spectrum. So now she knows how to deliver it. Hot chocolate isn't a crazy good recruiter of helping people change their life because she woke up today and decided she wants to change. She's been putting that into her DNA for years. Like, how do I pour into people? How do I make people better? So you got to start where you are. The great news is when I used to teach this 10 years ago, it would cost you money. You had to go buy a $1,000 ticket and go to somebody's big event like she went to the Oprah event, or you had to go buy CDs. Today, if you'll go to YouTube, you can get a $100 million education for free. And I've learned from Anthony on this trip that it's now the same thing on that Apple podcast. We've been listening to podcasts. Like, where are you getting all this at, Anthony? He's like, right here on your phone. It's right here on this Apple podcast. Like, you're getting all that right there. It's been on my phone all this time. I didn't even know that button was there. So now then, how you do it now in the last 10 minutes. And this is where it's on you. Just like anything in life. The more consistent and the more you do it, the faster everything moves. But there is no time frame. It's not. So I'm a big believer this business builds most effectively on other people's time. Where did Hot Chocolate see this at? Jen's juice store. It was Jen. It was Hot Chocolate. They made the connection. And then they called Kristen in. And then Kristen confirmed a few things. Then they called Chris in. Okay. You can actually do a 2-on-1 from the get-go, where I know hot chocolate you do it all the time. I think you signed up at Chris's house. Is that correct? Was she the one that, huh?
Beryl came over here.
Yeah. Beryl, she drove over, you're from Memphis, right?
No, I'm from
Whiteville. But she drove here, met you. Hot Chocolate invited her here. And then who was here to show the presentation? Okay, so because somebody might be brand new and wants to know exactly how to do this. Hot Chocolate called Beryl and said, what did you say to her?
There's a product, can't understand it all, not a lot of knowledge about it, but it'll work for you, I believe it. Inflammation. That's all I said to her. And join me, trust me on this, and let's go to the top together.
And then how did you get her here? Did you say, come on over here, I want somebody to show you that knows what they're doing?
Call the guy back, and he will explain it because I can't explain it.
Okay, let me tell you what she did magical there. She did not give her decision-making information. In the beginning, the number one thing we do wrong is we tell people way too much. We overtalk it. They think they know what we're talking about. You give them you empower them to make a decision. We want them to have zero decision-making information. It's a friend. She said, it'll work for you. It worked for me. I want you to talk to somebody that knows more than I do. She didn't give her anything. Didn't even explain a single product, didn't tell them what was in it, didn't tell them the name of the company. And then she brought him over here to Chris, who's got a number of years experience, and Chris explained it. If you can get this set up, you at some point will never spend your money. The more of these that you do, the faster your business will move. A living room meeting is so powerful. Now, living room meeting can be you inviting 3 or 4 people over. It could be 10. I don't really even like big living room meetings, not unless they're compounding over time. I like for it just to be a couple of people. But I know from Chris that you will get a couple of people here in town and you'll take them over to Chris's house. So what do you tell them? Will you say we're going to go over to Chris's house, let him explain it? How do you invite them over?
Say, hey, I'm on to something that could be so powerful, it's changing my life. Would you like to hear about it? And let me see if I can get it on the phone and how soon we can move into it.
That's it. So as I'm teaching this, because like Jerry and Allison, y'all are far enough along now, y'all can actually become like the go-to person. Like your team is inviting them to you. Like you're becoming Chris now, okay? And anybody can, Sheila, you should be becoming Chris at this point, 20 years into it. Sheila's Chris's sister, if you don't know, okay? So you want to do these as much as possible. And then the last piece is what Jen, you need to hear this last thing. I know you were going out of town. What Jen just did just now, it's 30 seconds. If you're in this town or you're in an hour surrounding area, y'all are fools if y'all don't do a weekly meeting with what I just saw. 30 minutes, 10, 10:30, get them out of here. That way, because people will come back if they know it's short. Like today's 12. If y'all thought this was happening again next week, no matter what you learn today, be like, I ain't got 10, 12 again. You start at 10, you end at 10:30, you get everybody out of there, and you say, we're going to do this again next week. And then all these 2-on-1s in living rooms, people that have kind of seen it may not have signed up on the spot. Now you say, well, you got to come over here. The great lady owns the juice store. Kristen runs the gym. There's a guy, Kristen's dad, financially has done really well in this industry. It's 30 minutes. You're out of here. Just come see what they got to say. And if you keep it short and they can trust you, they will flock here like you cannot believe. That's how Chris and I blew our business up. It was right here, what used to be the old Holiday in town. We started with a meeting about half this size. And in about 6 months, we had 300 people a week showing up at it. But the only way to get it big, consistency, has to be every week. Whatever that time is that works for y'all. Because what happens is, remember, that's all I needed you to hear. I wanted you to hear, you got to come do this once a week. Okay. And I know I'm down to 5 minutes. I'm almost done because the rest is really simple. So the weekly meeting is consistent because what you got to keep in mind is at all times, 80% of your business is not engaged. They don't know what you know yet. They're not serious yet. They may or may not be taking your products correctly. I mean, remember, we're all distracted. It's easy not to do it right. Jen just gave us one of the best presentations I've seen since I've been in the company. and she didn't take the drops for 2 years. Think about that. That's our business. If you've ever heard of Jim Rohn in our business, he says the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. I wouldn't ask why. I would just accept that's what it's going to do every day. In our business, 80% of the people are not paying attention at all times. I would not ask why. I would not get mad at any of them. I just know that's the way it is. And once you accept that, this business will become really easy for you because the emotion, a roller coaster, will start easing down. You're like, oh, Sheila could be as good as Chris, but she just might not be serious yet. And so we've been patient with you. We're on year 21. I think you'd be better than Chris, don't you, Chris? Okay, so that's your weekly meeting. So 2-on-1s, do them as you please. Living room meetings, do them as you please, but they're very powerful environments. Again, keep it short. Keep it short. Short. Weekly meeting, if it's 10 a.m., I'm just going to use what we did today. 10 a.m., 10:30, end it. Do not do training every Saturday. End it. Your people do not need everything Christian knows right when they sign up. Just get them on this, answer their questions. Some people can leave. Others might sit around and get a few more questions answered, but don't keep them stuck in their seat. That's the reason I keep watching my watch, because I got 3 minutes. Zooms. Even if they're non-technology, the one thing that's really changed, we still struggle signing people up on Zooms. Everybody does. I see everybody downline, Richard. I know what every single person in the whole company does. Getting people in via Zoom is not easy because it's just harder to relate. Can't shake their hand. Can't figure out the trust factor. We can get them in, but it's harder. The younger generation like Anthony are better at it. If you're a pretty girl, you're going to have more success than an old guy. I mean, there's some criteria there we can't control, okay? But I will tell you what the Zooms are really good at is what we're doing right now. So we've got probably a couple hundred people watching right now around North America, maybe even in South Africa and different places. Matter of fact, when this ends, me and Anthony are getting ready to Zoom into a big group in Nigeria at 1:30, Nigeria, Africa. But it'll be more of a training, not a recruiting. So it's great getting people trained, uplifted. You know, like we'll have Kristen on, Dr. Ginger, now that I know Jen, Hot Chocolate's been on a couple times when we get you back. And they'll all share their advice. So once you get them in, what you got to do is build you a text group with everybody on your team, except for people that don't want it. Ask them to say, and don't overdo it. Don't send them 43 Zooms a week. Send them 2 or 3 of the ones that you think will make the biggest difference in your group of people. And get them plugged in because they can do that sitting at home on a Saturday morning watching game day and have their phone over here. And there might just be one thing said that be like, I like hot chocolate. And they'll look over there, they'll start listening like, and then they'll hang up and they'll call Richard and say, who's Hot Chocolate? Whose team she's on? And then all of a sudden, Hot Chocolate's reached somebody Richard couldn't reach. Or they may say, hey, Chris Doyle, who is that guy? Got some business guy that I'm a school teacher. I cannot get his attention, but I get them on and they hear Chris's story and they're like, who's this Chris guy? He don't know how many employees did he have at one point? So you get to use all those personalities. So use these. And then if you can get good at it, create your own Facebook group. Now we want you in the Level Up Facebook group, but create your own where you can live your own team, like live and motivate them. It's like you should have, I'm sure you already do. Hot Chocolate has her own Hot Chocolate Level Up group that she's going to be motivating her own group. We used to do it through some other systems, but Facebook's probably the easiest one that is free right now to do that with. So make sure everybody gets in your group. That way you can communicate with them, give them updates, give them pep talks, give them all those kinds of things. And that's it. And then I'm out of time, and I'm going to end exactly on time. This group could be outrageously good. Chris, who didn't speak today because he lives here, you know, you lose I always say you're never a prophet in your own town. We'll pay Chris $1,000 to go speak at another group, and they'll just be sitting on the front of their seat taking notes the whole time. Listen, this is a group with Kristen and Hot Chocolate and some of you guys, Jen, Sheila, Chris, Beryl now, others that are starting to get excited. Trina, if y'all will just band together and commit and go build this, you cannot imagine what can happen over the next 36 months. You know, those of you in the company know we've merged the websites, big glitches and all that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, we're in 75 countries with a product line that's unbelievable. And if you saw that Zoom from Deanna Latson from Europe, Jerry, how many products is in the pipeline? 55? 71 new products are in the pipeline of New Age right now, either in R&D or about to be launched. I know of at least 5, an eyeliner, a lip bumper, a men testosterone builder, huh? Yeah. Oh, you already tried it? Were you on the test group?
No, this is the Nodi one. It's not the lip bumper. It's the one that's actually my favorite.
They're launching one at the convention, and which, thank you, Chris. They're launching one at the convention in Salt Lake. So lip bumper, eyeliner, and the men testosterone builder will all be available in Salt Lake. I don't know that they're going to have enough in stock to launch it whole North America. Right after that, it'll probably launch everywhere the first year. But if you're in Salt Lake, you'll get that. And I will tell you, didn't mention it, but the last big piece of the equation is getting to a bigger event. Just like Hot Chocolate made a decision to drive all the way to Arkansas with her team of people. And when you see that, it just elevates your belief. Nothing in a group like this can elevate it when you see a big group. Jerry, he signed up in a little town called Rupert, Mississippi. And right when he signed up, we had a big event in Destin like 2 weeks later. And I said, y'all got to come. I didn't think they would come. I said, y'all got to come. But it was that event that got them in enough to try to start figuring it out, because they hear doctors speak, they meet a Christian, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, thank you, Chris and Kristen and Hot Chocolate.
So thank everyone for coming. And if you have any personal questions or want to stay after the talk here, whether it's product questions or business questions, we'll float around and answer for you. Okay? Thank you so much.